Hey guys, my name is Dan Parks. I live in Long Beach, California, from the Midwest. I made a film this year called America, Socially Speaking. It's about America. It's about me as a writer taking a digital journey across America via the social media posts of others.
So where did the inspiration for this film come from?
The inspiration came from an author named John Steinbeck. Back in the 60s, he wrote a book called Travels with Charlie, in which he took a trip across America asking a question: what are Americans like today? Same question I wanted to ask this year. I fell in love with that book. Always wanted to take the physical journey. COVID came about, couldn't take a physical journey. I was stuck at home. I start this movie with some clips of all our governors across the great American states saying stay at home. And then so I chose not to stay at home, but I went digitally.
So where did you decide, hey, I'm going to start, and where did you decide this is where I'm going to get my material from?
Well, I followed Steinbeck's footsteps. So at the time he was living in Sag Harbor, New York, which is off of Long Island. So I started and finished where he finished. He finished in Manhattan. So he went from Sag Harbor all the way across the northern border up by Canada, all through those states, Idaho, Montana, Washington, down through California, now down through the South, Texas, up through Tennessee, back up to New York that way. I found my material all over the internet. I use Facebook, I use Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube. The cool thing about this project is there's a 1976 Copyright Act called Fair Use. A lot of documentarians will know all about that. So I applied that liberally in this case to use other people's work to tell my story.
Has anybody used their videos from, have they said, hey, this is a cool project and, they want to, be a part of it?
Boy, I tried. At the beginning, I tried. It's like, hey, let's get involved. Let's do this. I don't think people understood what I was trying to do. They're like, what are you trying to do? Because I even hit up some mildly famous YouTubers. There's this gardener down in Louisiana. And I'm like, I like your story, man. I'd like to tell, like, you're planting roots, planting seeds towards a new America. Maybe you can help me tell this story. He never really emailed me back. He emailed me back once, and then he didn't respond.
You said your inspiration came from Steinbeck. Was your focus to focus on maybe some lesser traveled areas? We know Dallas, we know Austin, Oklahoma City, but was there like a goal of let's try to see what America is really about and go into that small town, or like you said, Louisiana, go into the swamps of Louisiana?
Well, I went through Louisiana. I went through Baton Rouge, which is a city. Went through Tuscaloosa in Alabama. I went up through the north. Fargo was a smaller city I went through. Some small cities outside Chicago there. There's a lot of things, especially Snapchat is cool. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Snapchat, but Snapchat has a map. So I can open this map on my computer and I can see if they make their post public, I can see all their stories all
Right.
across the United States. So I can click on this little town outside of Chicago or a little town outside of Seattle, for instance, or through the rural parts of California, like outside of Bakersfield where I went through.
Let me ask you a question, because this is kind of a personal thing for me. Is when I was in high school, I worked at a photo lab and I used to develop everyone's vacation pictures. And then as an adult, I would go to the same places I saw the pictures, like, have I been here before? So do you think you're going to have that reaction is when you do get traveling out again, that you're going to see the places that were in your movie and you're going to be like, have I been here before? No, it's part of my movie. Are you expecting that reaction? Because
That's really,
I get that all the time.
yeah, that's cool as a creative, man. Like, yeah, definitely. I went to San Francisco this Valentine's Day. So that's a 6-hour drive for me down here in Southern California. And I went to the Fortune Cookie Factory because I seen it on my film. I was
Right.
like, we should go there. Yeah, we should go there and check it out. So most definitely, man. Most definitely.
What did you learn about yourself professionally and personally through making this documentary?
It's my second documentary and I gained a stronger work ethic
In
because it
what way, if you don't mind me asking?
took a lot of discipline, man. So, and nobody was telling me what to do. I was my own boss on this project. It's like, how do you know when you have enough clips from Seattle, Washington?
Right.
And my girlfriend's like, you probably got enough. I was like, I don't feel like it. Some stops I would have over 100 clips and then I would edit those down. Some stops I would have 15. No, I feel like I'm good here. But nobody's telling me when I'm good. So you learn that sixth sense in a way, to be honest with you. It's like this feels right or this doesn't feel right. You learn to trust that intuition or that gut feeling.
But I think as a filmmaker, you want to have more than you need because you don't want to be in a situation that you don't have much and you're kind of screwed.
Yes.
So it's
Most,
that balance you're trying to find, correct?
yes, of knowing when it feels good and knowing that you're gonna have, because I don't know if any of your audience or if you've messed around with editing, but yeah, you need more than enough, especially telling a documentary. Because the thing about a documentary, the writing happens when you edit.
Right.
Because when it's a nonfiction project, you don't really, you know, a direction. And I had the Steinbeck trip as a direction, and I had the question. My question is like, I'm searching for commonality. I didn't like the divided America. I was like, I think red ties and blue ties got some sort of commonality. So how do we find that? So that was my goal. But yeah, most definitely, I wrote it after the fact. Wrote it after finding those clips. So
So tell me about Steinbeck and you. When did you first discover him, and when was it? When in your life did you say, "Hey, this book is special to me"?
post high school, you know, it's funny when you talk to a lot of writers or you talk to a lot of creatives, they hear the word Steinbeck and they're like, oh, that's high school writer, right?
Right.
Grapes of, and they think it's children's literature. But I've been a working class guy professionally. So I work as a truck driver right now. And I've worked with my hands through most of my life. So I've connected with his characters, to be honest with you. Post high school, it's like, I want to be a writer. That was before I even started writing and wrote my first novel and so on and so on. So I connected with his characters and his life story too. And then I found Travels with Charlie about, I think, 2012, 2013. When I read it, I could see myself taking this trip. That was before I made my first film. And I was like, well, my first film was practice for this film in my mind.
Right.
And yeah, and then COVID happened and I did it this way. So
Let me ask you, do you mind if I ask you a truck driver question? Because I have a pretty interesting question for you. So when you watch movies like Convoy or Smoking the Bandit, I mean, what goes through your mind? Are you yelling at the TV saying, this is not real, this doesn't really happen in real life? Or you're just sitting back and enjoying it?
just sitting back and enjoying it. No, I mean, like, I've been blessed with being able to make money that way, but it's not my passion, you know? So I got into that trade through my family and it's cool. Driving's awesome. Steinbeck talks about it, what travels with Charlie, because while we're driving, what can we do? We can daydream, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's when I'm thinking about all the plans I want to do. Steinbeck's got some great lines in Travels with Charlie. He's like, many men have made great plans while driving, you know, houses have been built, gardens have been planted, you know, books have been written. So we have all that space because we're not having to use our mind to do our work.
You know, you drive a truck, you're taking this adventure virtually through your film. Do you think that in society today we miss a lot because we're going to go to the nearest airport, hop on Southwest or American Airlines? We want to get there in 2 hours. We want to get off the plane and go catch an Uber to the hotel. Do you think we're really missing something in America that we don't take these road trips anymore, and that road trips are not as cool as they were in the 50s and 60s?
Yes, they are. And honestly, I think with the younger crowd, I'm 34 now, with the younger crowd in their 20s, I think there might be some sort of renaissance happening towards the road trip. Because yeah, we've all heard, I'm from a flyover state. I'm from the state of Missouri. Um, when we travel from California, where I'm at now, to New York, or somebody travels, you're from Texas, maybe you fly up to Chicago. Yes, we miss they call it the heartland for a reason. We miss that, the heart of America, because that's where a lot of good people come from. It's cool that Steinbeck wrote about in his book. He didn't write about flying, but he wrote that the interstate took that away.
Right.
So he said you could travel the whole United States on the interstate and really not see a thing.
So you think you're hoping that the culture of road trips and seeing America through the automobile is coming back with the millennials and the young people?
Yeah, or even I think Gen Z is the group below me. I'm a millennial, so the Gen Zers, so the ones in their 20s right now. Most definitely. I hope so.
I hope so too, because I mean, there was just so much. It was a culture around it. You had AAA, the maps, and I have a cookbook here at the house that deals with cooking on your car engine. It says if you go from this point to this point, you can cook a baked potato or a steak on your car engine. After you stopped, because your engine will be that warm. I mean, I just hope that comes back really quickly. You're from Missouri, so I know Missouri because of Fort Leonard Wood, or they used to call it Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri. So tell me about Missouri and why we should go visit your home state.
It's very green. whenever I fly in there from California, I'm like, oh my God, this is what green looks like. The Ozarks is cool. Down, I've never actually been to Fort Leonard Wood, but every time I say to somebody from California, I'm from Missouri, they're like, oh, Army, Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah.
I'm from Glasgow, Missouri, which is right in between Kansas City and St. Louis on an interstate called I-70. Missouri's very green. It's got a lot of history. It's got great people too. You know, the Midwest has some great people. They're open and they'll be kind to you. So that's why. Visit for the people. Visit for, got good beer too. Anheuser-Busch is based in St. Louis. Kansas City has Boulevard Brewery. It's a great beer. My hometown, next to my hometown where I'm from, Columbia, Missouri, where the University of Missouri is from, has some great breweries too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us, and congratulations on such a great film. It's timely that's coming out this summer, and I had a great time with it. Thanks for the road trip.